Hi, good morning. If we haven't met yet, I'm Courtney Morgan, a therapist and founder of a group practice, Counseling Unconditionally. I met with another group practice owner about a week ago, and I was telling her about this new EHR that we're using, and she was so curious and so interested in it. She actually told me I should share this information with more therapists, so that's what I'm hoping to do this morning. To start, I'll share a little bit about my practice. We are a fully private pay practice that specializes in anxiety and trauma along the lifespan. So, some of our therapists specialize in working with couples and adults, and other therapists specialize in working with children and their families. We have a beautifully well rounded team of 8. And throughout the past few years, I have really stepped into the group practice owner role. And I would say one of the most important things to me is streamlining all of our administrative processes as much as possible. One thing that I always keep front of mind is user experience. So this user experience meaning both the clients that choose to come to us for therapy and also the therapists that choose to work here. I want everyone to have a 5-star experience across the board. I started counseling unconditionally. We use SimplePractice for our EHR. Honestly, I was familiar with it. I used it in a different practice, and I felt comfortable teaching our newer clinicians how to use it as well. I know SimplePractice gets negative feedback for how expensive it is, which I totally understand, but honestly, it was worth it at that time for my peace of mind. I tried the other EHRs that are commonly recommended, like Sessions Health or Therapy Notes. I even checked out Jane. And although these platforms were less expensive than SimplePractice, they just weren't user friendly. I didn't feel like they matched the quality of service that my team was providing. So I continued to stick with SimplePractice. Saving money was not worth potentially putting more on my therapist to have to learn a new clunky EHR and having clients have to navigate the platform to complete their paperwork. It honestly just wasn't worth it. So I stuck with SimplePractice for a few years. Recently discovered TherapyStack and I was immediately impressed. It had so many features that SimplePractice is somehow still lacking that really helps take even more administrative burden off of me. They have all the things that we would expect and hope for a good EHR to have, like reliable appointment reminders and a document template library and the ability to collect payments and all that good stuff. But what really blew me away is all the additional features that they have. So one thing that really stood out to me is the reporting in TherapyStack is just light years ahead of SimplePractice. Whenever I was using SimplePractice, I actually paid for another service that would pull my data from SimplePractice and put it into graphs and charts that would help me better understand how our practice was doing as a whole. I think in order to run a really successful practice, you have to know your data. And it was so frustrating that SimplePractice had all of this data, but trying to make sense of it took so much time, so much administrative time that I was willing to pay for another service to interpret the data for me. And that worked really well, but it was an added expense and another step in better understanding my data. So one thing that I love about TherapyStack is that it's all in one place. I don't have to pay another platform, and it doesn't take another step of navigating to a different website and going through that whole process either. Having that built in a way that's easier to understand is huge. Also built my practice very intentionally. And one of the ways that I do that is I will only onboard a new therapist once our established therapists are full. I also love having the self-scheduling option for our website. But one big issue that I had with SimplePractice is our self-scheduling link would always default to showing the therapist who has been there the longest at the top. So that was always me. And I haven't been accepting new clients for quite some time now. And neither was the therapist that I brought on after me, and the next, and the next, and the next. But what I found was that a lot of potential clients would navigate to our website and then click the people that showed up on the very top of the list, which were, like I said, people who weren't accepting new clients. So I would always have to step in and distribute those potential clients to our newer therapists that maybe the potential client didn't see because they didn't scroll to the bottom of the list. TherapyStack actually allows you to reorder clinicians on the self-scheduling. This is so helpful so that I can prioritize our newer therapists while also allowing potential clients to schedule with our more established therapist if that's the person that they choose to work with. As an added bonus, TherapyStack is actually less expensive than SimplePractice. So what you'd be looking at for a practice of my size is roughly $700 a month for the SimplePractice subscription that we would need for this amount of therapist. We are also a fully private pay practice, like I mentioned earlier, so we have a lot of Stripe fees. So our Stripe fees range, of course, but we tend to be around $3,000 or $3,500 a month in Stripe fees alone. So adding those together, you're looking at $4,000 to $4,500 a month just on our EHR. And we're a relatively small practice sitting around 8 therapists. So I feel for all of you group practice owners that have upwards of 20, 30, 50 clinicians, I can't imagine that. But getting back to my practice as an example, for TherapyStack, our subscription is around $280 a month, and their Stripe fees are less. So not only are we saving money on the subscription price, but we're also saving money whenever we collect payment from a client. If you're like me and you're looking for a great alternative to SimplePractice, I cannot recommend TherapyStack enough. Their customer service is incredible. Their platform is extremely user-friendly, and they actually have so many features that I didn't even get into today on this video. I have a code for a free 30-day trial, so you can check out TherapyStack 100% free for 30 days to see the things that I'm talking about and decide if it makes sense for your practice to switch. I will include that code in the video description below. In the meantime, please leave a comment and tell me about the issues that you're having with your current EHR or your first impressions of TherapyStack. I'm so curious to hear.